Welcome to So You Really Want to Learn Latin, and today we are going to be looking at the fourth declension. Now, so far in Latin, we've met the first declension, that's nouns like mensa. We've met the second declension, that's nouns like annus, if they're masculine, and bellum, if they're neuter. And we met puer and magister, which are just variations on those. And of course we've met the third declension, our old friend rex, a king. But now we're going to go one step further and have a look at the fourth declension. Now, not many nouns are fourth declension, I'll be honest about that, but the ones that are do tend to crop up quite often, and if you don't know how they go, you could be in real trouble because, as I'll show you in just a moment, the endings are potentially incredibly misleading. Okay, so the noun we learn when we learn the fourth declension is gradus, which means a step. In English we get words like gradient and the word grade, and we also get gradual and gradually, step by step, that sort of thing. Okay, and we'll go straight in and I'll show you how it goes. So it goes, gradus, gradus, gradum, gradus, gradui, gradu, gradus, 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 gradum, gradibus, gradibus. Okay, so it's a kind of weird combination of things, really. You'll notice that genitive singular is the one that causes most difficulty. Gradus, pronounced like that, you might think, okay, well, I can handle that. But of course, normally you will just see it written down. And the ending us is, to all, sane human beings, a nominative masculine singular ending. So you see the ending us, and you think, yippee, here is my subject. Well, not once you've met the fourth declension. Because although it could be the subject, gradus itself could be a nominative singular, gradus could be the genitive singular, and in the plural, it gets worse and worse, it could be nominative, vocative, or accusative plural. So, a bit of a beast, the fourth declension. So, time to put a cold towel around your head, really focus on what's going on, learn it, so you can just go, gradus, gradus, gradum, gradus, gradui, gradu, gradus, 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 graduum, gradibus, gradibus, and then just remember how often that ending us crops up and how you've got to be incredibly careful when translating Latin that has a fourth declension noun in it. Now, most fourth declension nouns are masculine, which I suppose is one thing. There are a couple of feminine ones, common feminine ones. Manus, a hand. We get the word manual. That's a feminine noun. And the noun domus, which means home, is also feminine. Now, a very small number of nouns in Latin are fourth declension but neuter. Okay, now we learn a little fellow called genu, which means a knee, and I mean there are a couple of nouns that are neuter, fourth declension. Cornu is one that means a horn, but basically I always say, learn genu because it's such fun. I mean, what kind of a noun goes? Genu, 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 genus, genu, genu. Genua, 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 genuum, genibus, genibus. Okay, so that singular is entirely ridiculous. Genu, 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 genus, genu, genu. I mean, it's the same ending all the way through, apart from the genitive singular. And then in the plural, all neuter nouns end in an a, as you know, in the nominative, vocative, and accusative. So it's going genua, 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 and then genuum, genibus, genibus. So learn genu just for fun. You'll almost never need it. The English expression to genuflect, by the way, genuflect, that means to bend your knee. So that's where that's coming from. And apart from that, put it down to experience and a nice little thing to know. You almost never need it. Okay, now I think the best thing, I mean, there's not much more I can tell you about the fourth declension, other than that there's some vocabulary you're going to want to learn. When you see a fourth declension noun in the vocabulary, it'll end in us in the nominative, but then us in the genitive. So that's how you can tell them. So exercitus, which means an army, exercitus, exercitus, masculine, an army. Portus, portus, masculine, a harbour. Okay, so that's how you tell that they are fourth declension. But I think we'll just finish off with a very quick little stab at translating some sentences into Latin, just showing you what goes on when you've got a fourth declension noun. So this all happens in Book 2. We are in Chapter 3 of So You Really Want to Learn Latin, Book 2. And anyone who's whacking their way through the exercises, I'll just have a little go at the first 2 or 3 of exercise 3.2, and you can see the way I approach them. Okay, so if you wanted to translate, he will lead the army to the harbour. Normal rules apply. The verb will go at the end, so we'll do he will lead right at the end. Now, he will lead the army. Latin for an army is exercitus, exercitus masculine. So it's a fourth declension noun. So you've got to get exercitus into the accusative singular, and that's nice and easy actually, exercitum. So exercitum, to the harbour. Now just remember, when to means towards, you use ad plus the accusative. So we want ad plus the accusative of the word for a harbour, which is portus, which is another fourth declension noun. So accusative singular of that will be ad portum. And then finally, he will lead. Well, Latin for I lead is duco, and we want the future tense, ducam, duces, ducet. Okay, so exercitum ad portum ducet. Okay, we'll do another one. The leader of the army was a brave soldier. Okay, the leader of the army, subject is the leader, so dux. And now we want of the army. Okay, Latin for an army is exercitus. It's a fourth declension noun, so we've got to get it into the genitive. And you're remembering gradus, gradus, gradum, gradus. So exercitus. So dux exercitus was a brave soldier. Latin for was, when it's he was, is erat. And a brave soldier, miles fortis. Or you could use validus. Now, just remember there that when you say the leader was a brave soldier, the words a brave soldier are the complement of the verb he was. And they go in the nominative case. People have a tendency to think, well, I've done the subject, and now I've done the verb he was, and now the next thing must be the object. But when you're using the verb to be is followed by a complement in the nominative case. Okay, just don't forget that one. And we'll do one more. The enemy were defending the homes of the inhabitants. So the enemy, now remember the enemy is this funny word hostes. It's always found in the plural when it refers to the kind of military concept of enemy, loads and loads of enemy people. So that's hostes. They were defending, that'll go at the end. They were defending the homes. Now the Latin for home is domus, and it's a fourth declension noun. So we want the accusative plural, which is, now this is a bit funny. Domus is slightly peculiar because although it is fourth declension, it has two versions of some of the endings. So the accusative plural can either be domos, as if it were second declension, or domus, as if it were fourth, which it is. Okay? It's more common to see domos, but as a little irregular noun to learn, domus, does have some funny endings. It's written out in the book on page 22, so you can see it going domus, domus, domum, domus, domui, or domo, domo. And in the plural, domus, domus, domos, or domus, 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 you can take your pick. Domuum, or sometimes domorum, domibus, domibus. So it's a very peculiar noun. It kind of mixes second and fourth declension endings. Okay, back to where we were. The enemy were defending the homes of the inhabitants. Hostes, domus, or domus, incolarum, that's of the inhabitants, defendebant. Okay? So, as I've always said, when you're translating from English into Latin, you're in charge. You can get the endings right because you're the one writing them down. Just remember, though, that if somebody else has written the Latin and you're trying to translate what they've said, you've just got to be on your toes. So, for example, we might have dux exercitus milites in montes duxit. Okay, so you go to the verb first. You've got duxit, that's third person singular. The subject is he, she, or it, or a noun in the nominative singular. Back you come to the beginning and you've got dux exercitus. Now, luckily, dux could only be nominative singular. Okay, so that's easy, there's your subject. But that second word, exercitus, is a bit horrid because just looking at it on paper, it too looks like a nominative singular. In fact, it's here a genitive singular, so it's the leader of the army. Now, what did he do? He duxit, he led. Whom did he lead? Let's see if there's an object. And we've got milites. Okay, that's plural, but it can only be accusative plural because we've already got a singular subject. So the leader of the army led the soldiers. Now, where did he lead them? In montes. In plus accusative means into, so into the mountains. Okay, so in one bold step, we have nailed another declension in Latin. The fourth declension goes like gradus. Make sure you learn it, and I will see you back here for more lessons on this channel. If you're having trouble, drop me a comment in the comments box below. Otherwise, see you back here for more.